Hello everyone. Starting from last week, the Senator Bill S.386 started becoming a hot topic around my friends and my colleagues. And some people are actually calling me to ask me to call the senator to say that I'm supporting this bill. And some of them are calling me to say that I should call them to say I do not support this bill. And before I made any calls, I started to looking into what this S386 actually is, and how does that going to change our green card system, because I'm actually one of the applicants that are waiting for the green card. And here today, I want to share with you that what I found out for the past week, and I will show you some hard data and also show you my understanding and my estimations on how this bill will change the green card system. So let's see, what is the S386? It's called the Fairness for High-Skilled Immigrants Act. And if you want to see a detailed description of this bill, you can actually go to Google and search for S386 and congress.gov. It will bring you to the Congress website about this bill. And before we go into the detail about this bill, let's talk about the green card issued for the past 10 years. And all the data I get for this page is actually came from the 2017 yearbook of the immigration statistic, which published by the Department of Homeland Security. And you can actually also download this yearbook online. If you go just search for the yearbook of immigration statistic and Homeland Security, and you can actually go to the web page of download it. And by the way, if you see a blue bar underneath each page, which means that all the data on this page can be verified or actually came from a published document, a published government document, or from a public government research. If you see a yellow bar underneath the page, which means some data cannot be verified, or that came from my estimation and my calculation. So, in the same yearbook, if you go to table 6, you can actually see how many different categories for the different types of the green card that people can obtain from the United States government. And because today we will be mostly focused on the employment-based green card, and we can see that we have first, second, third, fourth, and fifth different categories under green card, under employment-based green card. And we can also see that in 2017 we issued 137,855 employment-based green card. And what does that mean? First, let's see the different types of green cards. And we have an immediate first we have the immediate family, and our legislation did not put any number limitation on how many green card we can publish every year under this category. What does the immediate family means? Which means if you are a spouse, or you're a child, or you're a parent of the current United States citizen, and you can actually sponsor by the citizen of getting a green card. For example, our current First Lady, which actually born overseas, and she is married to one of the United States citizens, and she can actually get a green card sponsored by her husband. And after a certain years, when she becomes a United States citizen, and she can start to sponsor her parents to get a United States green card. But if she has a sibling, and because that sibling does not consider a direct immediate family, if her siblings want to get the green card, they can only go to the family-sponsored green card category, which the legislation, our house actually limited the number of the family-sponsored green card for 480,000 every year. And after that, we have the employment-based green card, which is 140,000 every year. As you see in 2017, the number is not very far from that number. And the employment-based green card, and we have different categories, and some certain people like the multinational management or directors, they can actually, if they want the green card, they can apply under this category. Some college or university researchers or professors like Albert Einstein, if he wants a green card in USA, he can actually file under this category as well. And we also have some like pop singer, sports star, and other famous person. We consider they have extraordinary ability in their field, and if they want a green card, they can also file under this category. And we have all other white collar, blue collar workers as well, which like the regular workers, either they are working on the production line, they're engineers, and they're doctors, nurses, and high school or primary school teachers. All this person, if they want a green card, they need to file under employment-based green card category. And we also have diversity. This category is actually for United States government to improve the diversity of the population of this nation. So if you came from a country which the amount of the people in United States is considered underrepresented, so you can actually join this green card lottery system and get a green card. We have a lot of video to talk about this diversity, and you can actually search online, search the YouTube, and you can know more about that. And we have the refugees and asylees, which the only difference between them is the refugee actually seeking Americans asylum outside of the USA, and the asylees are actually seeking USA's asylum inside of USA. And the president and the Congress will define how many refugee green card they're gonna issue every year. And I copied that chart from the previous page here, and we can see that averagely every year for the past 10 years we issue 1,074,000 green card every year. And if we combine the immediate family and the family sponsored green card, there's more than 2/3 of green card actually issued to family members of the United States citizen. And the employment-based green card is only taking 12.2% every year. And so in 2017, we issued 137,000, and 10 years average is 146. It's very close to the 140,000 numerical cap that our Congress put on this category. And for refugees and asylees, over the past 10 years, United States are roughly taking 150,000 refugees and asylees every year, which is more than the employment-based green card issued over that category. And this is the pie chart showing that. So total green card issued on employment, based on the employment category, in 2017 is 137 and 858. Like we mentioned before, we have some subcategories of the employment-based green card. So we have EB1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So different category has their own numerical limitation. So for example, for the EB1, which is Cristiano Ronaldo and Elon Musk and Albert Einstein and Gal Gadot can actually falls into, which we have the numerical limit of 40,040. And we consider them as a person with extraordinary ability, like Ronaldo. You may not like him, but you cannot deny that he has an extraordinary ability in playing soccer. And multinational executives and professors as well. And same thing for the EB2. It's persons with advanced degree, which is if you have doctor or master degree, and you are actually having a job here in the United States, your employer can actually sponsor you a green card. So all the doctors and all the engineers, some of the engineers and like programmers, some of them are actually falls into this category. And the rest of the bachelor degree and the experienced worker will fall into the EB3 category. They also have the 40,040 numerical cap. That many green card can be issued in this category. And EB4 is actually for other workers. We call that a religious worker and others. For example, if Pope want a green card, they may actually file under the employment-based green card as well, but it's under EB4. So he does not really compete with other engineers and doctors and medical doctors, something like that. And we also have EB5, which we call that investors. So they're not employees anymore. They're more like employer. So they are actually creating new business in the United States and creating jobs. So they're they can get a green card as well. Because for this video, we will be focusing mostly on the EB1, EB2, and EB3. And because they are considering they need some level of education, and they will have to get a job here before they can actually apply for the green card. So consider this S.386 will be changing the most of the paths of getting green card under these three categories. You may think that if you're actually taking 40,000 of Albert Einstein every year, it's actually not too bad. And we're actually taking 40,000 in all the engineers and all different kind of workers. It's actually not a very bad number. But is that true? On table 7 of the yearbook, we can actually see that under different categories, under employment-based green card. So we do have aliens with extraordinary ability and outstanding professors and multinational executives, but we also have spouse and children. Same thing for the EB second category for the employment-based green card. We have professionals holding advanced degrees, and we also have spouse and children, which means this green card are not only issued to the person has a high skilled worker, but also issued to their dependent. Yeah, of course, if they want to immigrate, if they want to get a permanent job in the United States, they're gonna have to bring their spouse and their child with them. So same thing for the EB3 as well. But for the EB1, so the total green card issued in 2017 is actually 41,060, and 16,947 of them are actually major applicants, and 24,111 and 117 of them are actually dependents, including spouse and the child. So which makes that roughly 41.3% of the EB1 green card are actually issued to the applicants, the major applicants. So in that case, if you calculate overall for the EB1, EB2, and EB3, roughly 46% of the overall green card are issued to the high-skilled worker. I'm not saying the spouse is not high-skilled. I'm just saying when they are applying for green card, they are not our targeted persons. So overall, only 54,490 green card are actually issued to the major applicants. This number, which actually less than 5% of the total green card issued. And now let's talk about what is the S.386 and what does that change. So this bill is actually major change on the U.S. Code 1152. This code is actually on the numerical limitation on the individuals from the foreign state. By this bill, I have the top portion of this page actually in the original number with the red line of what changed on this bill, and the second paragraph is actually the content from this bill. So we can see that this bill is actually removing the employment-based immigrants, the country cap, and increasing the country cap from 7% to 15% on the family-sponsored green card. So that means S.386 can actually help bring in more high-skilled immigration workers. The answer is actually no, because based on the fact that we showed in the previous page that the Department of Homeland Security is actually exhausted on the employment-based green card every year. In the 10 years average, we actually issued 146,000 employment-based green card, and we actually have a numerical cap on 140,000. We are actually a bit over our limit already. And this bill does not introduce any change on the numerical cap of 140,000 employment-based green card every year. They simply just removing the per country cap. And you may say why, if that's not gonna bring in more high-skilled worker, and why the House and the Senate are actually introducing this bill. By introducing this bill, they actually want to do is trying to eliminate the queue on the green card for certain countries, because these countries, like I listed before, if they are applying green card more than their cap every year, they actually have to wait, and this line has been accumulated for so many years. And from a report that we see from the United States USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, on April 2018, showing that for China, India, and Philippines, there are more than 352,000 green card applications pending green card issue. So this 352,000 is not a green cards. It's not a person. It's actually applications, which means they may have one spouse and a couple of children associated with them. So the total amount of green card needed for this pool is actually bigger than this 352,000. And so you may ask, will this S.386 actually help to eliminate the queue by removing the country cap? The answer is also no, because again, we already exhausted the green card that we can issue on the employment-based every year. And this bill does not increase the amount of the employment green card every year. And in fact, China and India are actually not capped by the 7% country limit. Why is that? It's also from the yearbook. 2017, China got 19,221 employment-based green card on 2017. Which is 13.9% of the total employment-based green card on that year. And India is getting 23,569, which is 17.1%. Also, Korea is getting 11,000, a little bit more than 11,000, which is 8.2%. Why is that? So, does that mean the Department of Homeland Security actually not following the rule that Congress made for them? It's not true. Under the USC 1152, they also have a rule that for employment-based immigrants, saying that employment-based immigrations are not subject to per-country limitation if additional visas available, which means if the rest of the world cannot use up all the visas, the leftovers can actually go to the countries that has more application, which they are subject to the cap already. So in this case, in 2017, India and China are already taking 31% of the green card on 2017, and the rest of the world is taking 69%. So we don't really see a line for the rest of the world on 2017. The major lines are still pending on the China and India. In that case, China and India is actually taking more than twice of their caps already. And you may ask, if that introduced the bill to clear the queue, how many visas China and India needed in the next 3 years to actually clear the queue currently accumulated? I give you a quick answer. For India, under the EB2 and EB3 category, it's not possible to clear the queue. For China, if they can get 30% of the total EB2 quota per year, they can actually clear the queue for EB2. They don't really have a very long line for EB1 and EB3. Why I put it 3 years? Because in the S.386, they introduced the 3-year transition period, because they don't really want to see that the entire world start having the queue from the same year they introduced this bill. They may facing a lot of the rejection from the Senate if they actually push the bill like that. So the transition period works like that. In 2020, 85% of the total employment-based green card will go to India and China. In 2021, 2022, 90% of the total green card, employment-based green card will go to India and China. So first year, 15% left to the rest of the world, and the following 2 years, 10%. And from 2023, 100% of the green card on the employment-based category will be based on first come, first serve. How does that work? Currently, the rest of the world doesn't really see a queue. Only China and India see a queue, because the rest of the world is actually taking 69% of the employment-based green card. In the transition period, the first year is 15%, the second, third year is 10%, so 3 years total. The rest of the world will only get 35% of the total green card quota. And that means 69 minus 35. They're roughly 34% of the total global green card applications will not be approved, will not be processed until the China and India clear their line. More than a third of the global green card applicants in fiscal year 2020 will not get a green card until India and China clear their line. And that also plus all the new applicants from China and India. So same thing for all the applicants in fiscal year 2021, 22, and 23, and the list goes on. Why am I saying that? So let's see how long does that take to clear the queue for India and China, based on the report we see from USCIS earlier. And another thing is that how many applications will be approved under EB1, 2, and 3. And we can get a rough number for the EB 1, 2, and 3 green card, which is they capped at 40,040 per year, and we see that around 46% overall is actually falls under the major applicants, which is applications. So we can roughly get we have 18,480 green card applications will be approved under EB1, and under each EB categories every year. So we can do the math. The quick math for clear the EB1 queues for India and China, it takes 3.2 years. Clear the queue for EB3 for India and China, it takes 3.2 years. But for the queue for the EB2 for India and China, it takes total 12.7 years to clear that. But we also know that the EB2 and EB3, if you're qualified for a master degree, you're automatically qualified for a bachelor degree, saying that if you're qualified for EB2, most of the case you will be automatically qualified for EB3. So if they see a huge line in EB2, some of them may downgrade to EB3 to get a green card faster. So we can actually combine these two categories together. But still, to clear the line for China and India in EB2 and EB3, based on the current green card quotas, it needs 7.9 years. It's like 8 years. So it takes 8 years to clear the queue. Say, if you are Cristiano Ronaldo and you've been told that you can get a green card after 8 years, were you still considering coming to American? Because after 8 years, you may be well retired on the soccer player career, and probably you need to actually apply for the coach or some other positions. And again, same thing for some like a cardiologist. If you're a doctor, a medical doctor, and you got 2 job offers, one in America and one in Canada, the American is better in almost every way, better pay and better retirement plan, everything. But it takes you 8 years to get a green card. Are you still gonna considering coming to America? So the real consequences we're gonna see that if the bill actually passed the Senate this week. So we're gonna see that all other countries will start seeing queues from fiscal year 2020. As we mentioned before, we don't have enough quota left for the rest of the world for them to clear the green card applications, and it takes them like 8 years for some EB2 or EB3 applicants to actually get the green card. And some of them may not get a green card until 2029. And I believe there will be a time the queue will be accumulated for so many persons that for 40 years long, you will not get a green card. What does that mean? If the person graduated from 25 and he or she plan to retire at 65, so he or she gonna work for 40 years. The way that employment-based green card works, that you have to have an employer to sponsor you for the green card, which means you have to get a green card before you retire. If you cannot get the green card in 40 years, which means you cannot get green card and even after you retire, which means the employment-based green card doesn't work for you. So will the line really reach 40 years? I ask you another question. If you have a tank that contains 100 gallons of water, and you have another water tap that pumps in the water at 2 gallons per minute, and you have another pump that pumps out the water for 1 gallon every minute, how long will you empty the tank? So you know the answer is never. We also see some real data. So how many green card, how many labor certificate we see every year. Because if you want to qualify for the employment-based green card, you have to approved by the Department of Labor on the foreign labor certification, which means you have the ability actually to do your job in the United States, and your job is actually in kind of shortage in United States, and you have enough compensation wage to pay the rest of your like the insurance, the medical insurance and all that. So in fiscal year 2018, the Department of Labor processed 119,776 applications for the foreign laborers, and 91% of them are certified, which is 109,550. Does all of the 109,000 people will apply for green card? I don't think so. But how many will this number transfer to green card application? we actually don't know. We don't really see that number from this research service. By the way, if you want to see this, the report from the Congressional Research Service, you can actually go Google, search for R45447 and the Congressional Research Service, and you can download the full copy of this report. Take me half an hour to read it. So I have to do a guess in here. Let's say the 109,000 of the approved labor certificate from the Department of Labor, and 80% of them are actually transferred to green card application. But I believe the number will be way higher than that, but there's no way for me to get a real number. I have to take a guess. And so how many EB1, 2, and 3 applications will be approved? Remember, the 40,040 green card are issued to all the people applied for the major applicants and the spouse and the children. So if we take that by the 46% is our estimate on how many major applicants are on that list, which will give us the total annual approved green card application will be 55,255 for EB1, EB2, and EB3. So this math become really easy from here. So we have a current pool of 352,000 people, and we're adding 55,255 people into this. We're moving that out of this pool, and we're adding 87,640 people into this pool. So how long does that take to accumulate the amount of the data we need to process for 40 years? The answer is 57.4 years. So after 57 years, nobody will get an employment-based green card in the United States. Do I really think that will happen? I don't think so. Because this master and doctor are pretty smart. If they see that it takes them 20, 30 years to actually get a green card in the United States, they may not come here in the first place. And if some parents want to send their kids for university or for graduate school, if they see that it takes them 30, 40 years to get a green card in the United States, they will never send their kids here for education. That's a very real problem. We will see if the bill passes. What is the real fairness for the high-skilled worker? In my opinion, in this country, we kind of need a point-based green card system. And a lot of the senators and a lot of people in the federal and the state government actually agreed to that, and we need to build a point-based green card system as soon as possible. Do I think this bill is fair? I don't, and I actually think this bill is kind of hypocritical. Why am I saying that? Because this bill removed the employment-based country cap, but this bill actually kept the family-sponsored green card country cap. What does that mean? So if you think the 10 years wait time for India workers under employment-based green card category is not very fair, and removing the country cap will make it faster for them to get a green card, or make that fair, a little bit more fair for them. But if you take a look in the family-sponsored green card pool, and you can see that Mexicans are actually have a line for more than 20 years. You may think about that. Removing the country cap will help them to get a green card faster. And as a result, which will be Mexicans to dominate the family-sponsored green card pool for a couple years. But from this bill, I see that they want to keep the 15% of country cap, which means they don't really want one single country to dominate the family-based green card category. But they want to remove the company cap on the employment-based green card so that one country can actually dominate the employment-based green card category. That's why I'm calling this bill a little bit hypocritical. So I posed this question to the Senate, or some other people, if you watch this video and you want to bring this question up to your Senate, you may ask them to question about what's their definition of fairness. If you are with me and don't think that we keep every single person to wait 10 years to get a green card, and you probably need to call your senator and say that this bill is not that fair at all. The senator should also ask who is actually proposing this bill these questions, that do we have any data actually shows that how many employment-based green card applications every year and in each category, because I don't really see that data in the yearbook or anywhere else on this in the internet. And all the data on the estimation on the later part of this video is actually based on my estimation. And if each year's employment-based green card application is more than the quota, what should we do? Should we just leave the line to keep growing until they actually reach 40 years? And another question is that how the transition period works, and how does the China and India gonna share the 85 and 90% of the annual quota they get for the first 3 years? Because we see that no matter how many quotas the India take, there are no way for them to clear their EB2 queue. If the China can take more than 30% of that, it's actually possible for China to clear the queue for the first 3 years. So how do they actually share this 85 and 90%? And also, another question is what actually happened to the Philippine applicants on the EB3 line. We also see a line, yes, for Philippines on the EB3 category. We only talk about China and India. What about them? Are they going to share from the 15% of the quota for the rest of the world? Will the 15% based on first come, first serve basis? Will the Philippines to consume the first 15% all to clear their queue in the first year? Is that going to happen? Because we don't know, we don't really see any data. And in this S.386, it also mentioned that all the applicants will not get a green card later than they should be if they currently approved for a green card. And my question is actually how to determine the final green card issue date for a person who is currently approved for like green card for China and India. Because on my approval notice, I don't really see any date when I should be able to get a green card. So this is the 5 questions that I want all the senators to ask the sponsor senators in for this bill. And if you think this video is making any sense, just call your senators and tell them that this question should be answered before they can actually approve this bill. And I think the immigration is a very complex topic in this country. And I think all the immigration topics need to be worked out by multiple federal government agencies. This need to be thoroughly looked and worked before we can actually put that into bill. And before we put an end to this video, and think about this question. If you have a tank contains 100 gallons of water, and you pump in 2 gallons of water every minute from a water tap, and you pump out 1 gallon of water every minute from another pump, what do you need to do to empty the tank? Thank you for your time.